Good afternoon. I would like to call the meeting to order and welcome everyone to our first chapter meeting for 2013. The meeting is being videotaped today for future showing on the Laurel Cable TV network. And I'd like to give a special welcome today to our speaker, Jessica Welsh, and any new members or first-time attendees. We have none, so that's where, at this time, we'll have a pledge of allegiance.
And the median income of the area usually is by county, that there's an income threshold. So you can't be over that amount of income for a year or you don't qualify. So it just depends upon the building. Does that make sense? Yes, ma'am.
What is the range for the requirement?
Well, it depends upon where the building is located, but I would say I could give you probably a range of between 28 and 36,000 might be like a maximum cutoff, depending upon where what county. And then the cost would range between $350 and $1,500 a month in rent. So how the senior apartments work is sort of like a sliding scale, but not entirely. Like there would be a range of income. So if you made between this amount and this amount a year, your rent would be $350. And then if you make between this amount and this amount higher, your rent would be more. And every building would have a certain amount of apartments allotted for each rent that they were allotted for. So if all the apartments for 350 were filled up and you qualified for 350 rent, you might have to get on a waiting list for that rent. Now they might have an apartment that rents for 400, so if you could pay an extra $50 a month, you could rent that apartment, or you could choose to get on a waiting list for what you qualify for. So that's kind of how those apartments work. That's why you often hear that there's such long waiting lists, because they do have low rents, but not every apartment in that building is such a low rent. There's different rents in that building. Yes, ma'am?
Is it net or gross income?
It's gross income. And they also take a percentage, they don't take it, but they figure in a percentage of your assets as well. I think it's 2% of your assets, and they add that on to your gross income, and if that takes you over, then you don't qualify. The second category is independent living or retirement communities. And generally, there's no income restriction here. This is a little bit pricier, as you can see. And this could be either a purely rental type of environment, or this could also be what you might hear as a buy-in community, or a continuing care retirement community, CCRC for short. And this might be apartment or a cottage-style living, and you would generally get some additional services included with your monthly rate here. Housekeeping, sometimes a couple meals per day, a meal plan, transportation and outings on a schedule with the community. There would be activities provided by the community as well included. And some will offer home care as well, but that might be an additional charge. It might not, depends on the community and what they offer with their contract. And the cost will vary, as you can see. This says between $2,000 to $6,000 a month. It depends upon usually the size of the apartment, how many people are in the apartment, and if it's a buy-in community, what type of buy-in option that you choose. But generally, with a buy-in community, you still pay a rental fee per month, even after you pay your upfront, buy-in cost to cover your utilities and your meals and things like that. They still charge you a monthly fee. Any questions on that? So now we're moving more into the care side of senior housing. And this category is what I call a residential care home. Some people call them group homes in Maryland. Some people call them adult family homes. But generally, it's an assisted living that is in a setting of a residential home. We have a lot of them in Maryland. And I think that it's a great thing because it provides another setting for people that need care. And a lot of people don't want to be in a large community. They feel that it's institutional. Some of the large communities are not institutional. Some people feel they don't have an institutional feel, but a lot of people don't like to be around that many folks. They're not used to it. They want to be in a more family-like environment. So these homes that are licensed as assisted livings provide a really great way for somebody to age in place in a home where they've lived all their life. It might not be their home, but they're in a family-like environment. So it's generally between 2 and 15 residents, depending upon the size of the home and what they're licensed for. Usually, they're instead of an apartment-style room, it's a bedroom, and it can be a private or a shared room, depending upon, again, what the home is licensed for, how it's set up, and the cost. And it's going to be just like a larger assisted living community would be, just on a smaller scale. So they're going to have meals, laundry, housekeeping activities, provide all the levels of care that they would through the state of Maryland as they have to be licensed to do. And the costs are going to vary. Now, this is a really wide range here, $1,500 to $8,000, and I think that the reason why they're showing such a wide range here is because you can find some really small residential homes, like in Baltimore City, with a shared room that are willing to work with families that might only care for 3 residents, that are licensed, and are willing to work in that $1,500 range. If the person doesn't have a very high level of care, meaning that they don't have a lot of needs that the caregiver has to take care of on a daily basis, and maybe they can still walk the stairs up to the bedroom. There's not a stair ramp in the home. The home doesn't have a lot of updates to it that costs the owner a lot of money, so they can work with a lower budget. But then you have the homes in Montgomery County that are specialized with nurses 24/7, RN 24/7, that are dedicated to maybe some memory care, and they might charge $8,000 a month because they are specialized. They feel that they can, charge this kind of money, and they're really great at what they do, and they're a specialty, and people will pay that. So there is a big variation in the type of cost for the businesses here. When I was an advisor helping families with these decisions, I would say 50% of the families that were making an assisted living decision chose a smaller family-like environment, and 50% chose a larger community. So there is a big need for it. And then you have the assisted living community, the larger building that's built as a community. And here you have you're going to have a more active lifestyle than you would in your residential care home, because there's going to be more people. There's going to be more to do, more activities, more outings, more events. And you're going to have a little bit more privacy because instead of a bedroom setting, you'll have an apartment, studio-like type of environment. There will generally be an LPN on staff. Usually, most of the day, a lot of assisted livings are having LPNs 24 hours, but that's not a requirement. So the ones that do have LPNs or are in 24 hours are rarities and really great, and it's a good selling point for those communities. They'll have a full-time activities director, lots going on, and a lot of assisted living communities will also have a specialized memory care wing, if you will, where within that community there is an additional community. If the assisted living community has 80 residents, there might be an additional community that's licensed for 30 residents that just specializes in helping those folks with dementia or Alzheimer's. So sometimes you have a couple where one spouse has dementia and the other doesn't, and they want to stay together in the same community, but as the dementia progresses, maybe they can't stay in the same environment, but they can stay in the same building. One person in the memory care area, another person in the general assisted living, and they can see each other every day. Yes, ma'am.
So that's a per person cost, right? So even if two people, like husband and wife, are living in an apartment, if two people, so it'd be like $4,000 a month, not $2,000. Is that correct?
Well,
It's a concept, obviously, yeah.
it depends upon the situation. So the scenario that I just mentioned, with being in two separate areas of the community, like if one person was in memory care, then that would be, I was just about to say, that would be a little bit more costly undergoing, because then you have two separate room charges. You have the room in memory care, you have the room in assisted living. If the couple live together in the same room, you generally have the large communities work with their pay structures, is you have one price for the room. Yeah, you start with that. Okay, now there's more. you start with that. Okay, that varies depending upon what size room. If it's a studio, if it's a one bedroom, where it's located in the building. Okay, then you have your second person fee for the other person. Second person fee is not a double for the room rate. It's generally between $1,200 and $2,000. Okay. And then you have a level of care for both people. If both people have a level of care, both people need care throughout the day and have a care plan. Then you have a level of care for the wife and a level of care for the husband. So you have all four of those charges together, and that would be the monthly rate, and whatever that would equal.
And your long-term care insurance, I mean, you can't get into specifics, I understand that, but that would apply if your policy covers that, right?
Yeah, if you have long-term care insurance that covers assisted living, depending upon, your,
I know there's time limits. And
Yeah.
all that stuff, yeah. Okay, thanks.
So with assisted living, it's generally private pay, long-term care insurance. There is a veterans benefit that is great, called the aid and attendance benefit. Anybody that is a veteran or surviving spouse of a veteran should look into that aid and attendance benefit. It is a really great benefit that can help pay for assisted living and even some home care and even some adult daycare, adult medical daycare. And then there's also assisted living communities that are strictly for memory care support. So they will be just strictly built for that and that alone. And they will be secure, meaning that they're locked. And the reason for that is for the people's safety that are living there, because a lot of times there is a phase that is wandering or even elopement that a lot of people might go through. Some people don't, but the reason that they secure the community is just in case somebody might be going through that they don't get out and get hurt out in the street and get hit by a car or get lost. So those communities will be secure. They're going to have staff that is specifically trained to help people with memory care concerns. They're going to have appropriate stimulation, so the activities that they're going to have, the programming is going to be shorter in nature. Instead of an hour and a half long activity, it might be a half hour. And then the costs are going to be a little bit higher for that type of assisted living community. And then at the end of the care spectrum is the skilled nursing, the rehab, and there's short-term rehab where you might go for 6 to 8 weeks if you had a knee surgery or just going to get some inpatient therapy and go back home. And then there's also the long-term care options where some people might go into a rehab after a stroke, and then they might end up staying in long-term care. Most offer very high levels of care. The environment varies very widely. You can pay privately. You can use Medicare for your short-term stay. Medicare is a short-term type of insurance. Doesn't pay for anything long-term. And then Medicaid is that long-term, spend down. So that's where you spend down in a nursing home. Some nursing homes have memory care, and then I would say that that's probably a little low for skilled nursing. It might be closer to like maybe 8,000 to 10,000 a month for skilled nursing. So that's big. It's pretty expensive. And then moving on to home care, there are two different types of home care. There's your private duty and your home health. So starting with the home health on the right-hand side, that's your, what some people might call your medical home care. That's what Medicare pays for. When if you go to rehab and they send you home with home care, that's typically your home health care. Short-term, it's prescribed from a social worker or from a doctor. It's occupational speech, physical therapy. It's usually Medicare funded. Some companies will take private pay, and it's typically short-term. And then you have your private duty. Those are, you see a lot of ads for a lot of those home care agencies where that's more of a companion care, personal care, where the services are provided by an aide, like housekeeping, meals, mobility assistance, companionship, transportation to and from appointments, help with medication reminders. That's going to be private pay. So that's typically $15 to $25 an hour, and a lot of times they kind of can go in conjunction. You go home with Medicare, home health, you still might need some help with like housekeeping and meals while you're going through therapy. You might have to pay somebody for the private duty to come in while you're getting the Medicare. Some people choose, instead of going to an assisted living when they need care, to stay home with private duty. So that's an option. It does get quite expensive to stay home with private duty 24/7. That can be upwards of $15,000 a month. But if you have the funds to do it and you want to stay home, a lot of people choose to do that. And then there's respite care and adult day services. So respite care is temporary care. It provides temporary round-the-clock care solutions or a break for the caregiver, and it's offered in really all types of care environments. So they offer it for home care, so you can get respite care from a home care agency to come into the home and help out short-term. You can get respite care in assisted living, in a residential care home, in a nursing home. It just depends upon what you're looking for, the care needs of the person that you're caring for, and then the respite restrictions. Some places don't have any. You can come in for a day, but there's a lot of paperwork that goes on with entering into some of these communities. So sometimes there's a 2-week minimum or a 1-week minimum, or some places have even some 30-day minimum. So it just depends on what you're looking for. And then you have your adult day. And that's where depending on the range of the transportation, they would pick you up for the day, breakfast and lunch, and an afternoon snack are usually provided. There is usually care provided during the day if you need it, like bathing, help with getting to the restroom, things like that, and activities, and then transportation back home. So it's great a couple times during the week if you're working or you're working part-time, or your little one needs some stimulation, some activities, being around other people during the day. So a lot of people look into adult day as well. So those are the different types of care, and I know those numbers as far as the costs are high and expensive, but that's the truth. That's what it costs. It is expensive. And I don't sell long-term care insurance. I have it myself because when I started working in this field, I realized that it costs a lot, and we're all living longer. So if you have the opportunity to look into it, it might be good just to look into it for yourself and see if it's feasible. Because I know that when I was working with families, the ones that did have long-term care insurance had a lot better, had just better, more options, and they just had a little easier time paying for things. So, payment sources, private pay. Most of the families that I helped, the average person had an income of about $1,100 a month in asset that they used, and that asset was generally their home that they sold. So that's how people paid for care when they needed it, moving to assisted living. That's generally the scenario. There is that aid attendance, and I encourage anybody that's a veteran or surviving spouse of a veteran to look into that program. I do believe that you have to be over the age of 65 to qualify for the aid and attendance benefit, but it's for any veteran who served during a war period. You didn't have to necessarily be overseas, except there is, I think the Vietnam War there, you might have had to be overseas during that war, but the other wars you didn't have to be overseas or fight in combat. Just had to be in the armed forces for at least 30 days, with at least one day following on during a war period. And you couldn't have been dishonorably discharged, or if you were a surviving spouse of a veteran and there was no divorce, you might qualify for a surviving spouse benefit. Benefit might have gone up a little bit, but I think the last number that I wrote down was about $1,700, up to $1,700 a month that a veteran could get. And I think for a surviving spouse it's $1,100 or $1,200 a month. And then there's also a couples benefit where if a couple is going somewhere together, it might be like around $2,000 a month. So it's a really great benefit that a lot of people don't know about. And if you apply for it the right way and get the right information, it doesn't take too long to get. Some people say it takes a really long time, but if you get the right information, I've seen people get it in a few months. Just so you guys know, Medicare doesn't pay for any custodial long-term care. A lot of people get that confused. They think Medicare is going to pay for long-term, they're not really, you need help in the long term. It doesn't, so just keep that in mind. Medicaid is the program where you spend down your assets, but Medicaid is kind of a tricky beast sometimes. You have to qualify not only financially but medically as well, and you can't have more than $2,500 in assets, and you have to have a certain income as well. So there's a lot of things that go into Medicaid too. And if you're thinking about Medicaid planning, you may want to consult an attorney, to look into that. Senior care loans. That's another thing that some people have looked into in certain situations. There are programs out there where, for a while, and I don't know how things are going now, for a while it was hard for people to sell their homes. And that was, like I said, people were having to sell their homes in order to pay for care. So auctioneers were a good source. They were helping people. A couple of people that I helped use an auctioneer got a good deal. Were able to liquidate their assets using an auctioneer. But there's also some programs out there that provide loans for senior housing until you sell your home. So that's something that some people look into. There's still interest on those loans, so it's kind of up to you whether you want to go that route. They even provide loans without collateral, so you don't even have to have a home to put up to get a loan. But again, there's interest on these loans, so it's something that you have to look into to see if you want to undertake that loan. So there's a lot of potential roadblocks as to why you may not want to start doing your research now. A lot of fear, guilt, promises to loved ones that, I'll never put you in a home, or, I'll never place you somewhere. A lot of family dynamics, financial concerns, relationship history with loved ones or people that we, have to take care of. But I think it's really good to get it all out in the open and just start devising a plan so that we're all more prepared. So to get started, be proactive, maybe having, a family meeting, having a conversation, trying to get as many people together that are involved in the decision as possible, and, really having a heart-to-heart with your loved ones, being open, truthful, and honest about what's really going on, what's the reality of the situation, and how we can help, to come to a solution that's going to be great for everyone. If you're not getting anywhere in those conversations, there are professional mediators and people that work in this field, that can help in family situations. So just keep that in mind, and call me if you ever need those resources. And like I said, get your plan in place early, take advantage of the available resources that are out there, and remember that you don't have to walk alone. There are people out there that will help you, that will give you a plan to start walking on, things that you can start looking at for yourself so you can become educated and empowered, and so that you can be comfortable and confident when you have to make these decisions. So a little bit about A Place for Mom and who we are. We are the nation's largest senior living referral information service, and we have local advisors, senior living advisors, and we visit senior housing communities, and we stay close to the resources available in our local areas so that we know what's out there and we know how to help you when you call us in your specific situation. We really take the time to listen to what's going on uniquely with you so that we can provide education, resources, and ongoing support until a solution is found. And we're committed to not only providing options and resources to help empower families in finding care solutions and resources, but also educating the public on senior healthcare issues and solutions as well. And we have a lot of really great things on our website, personalife.com. We have a blog that people go on and contribute different scenarios that they're going through, and people help answer those questions, people from our company as well as just across the United States. Different scenarios that they're dealing with, situations that they're dealing with, and what's worked for them. So we have a lot of tools in place to help in this time of their life. We can give you detailed information about specific communities, including room sizes, level of care, personal preferences, possible funding options and resources. We can even assist with setting up tours for you, maps, driving directions, and then we can connect you with additional local resources. Caregiving support groups, senior living specialists, elder law attorneys, financial planners, reverse mortgage specialists, and even educational articles that might be helpful for what you're doing. One thing I wanted to show you, every family that we help is a personalized web tool called My Search, and this is just a little screenshot of it. If you can see here, I'm going to use this laser pointer. So you can see here what you would have at your fingertips is you have access to the person that is your advisor, and these little links here are, if you click on them, it sends an email. Basically, they're like, I need more help, I have another question for you. There's quick little links that you can click on, and it sends an email directly to your advisor that's helping you, and they'll respond very, very quickly to you. All of the options they provided to you will be listed right here, and with all of the contact information. So you just go right on this page, you have that information at your fingertips. And then over here, you can actually set up your own tours. So you could click on this link and set up that you want to see this community. It's Saturday at noon. It would send an email to the marketing director of this community and let them know that you you were interested in visiting. And then when you got back, you could save your notes right here as to how you felt about that community, what you liked, what you didn't like, and then you could rate it. You could even delete it if you went there and it wasn't a place that you would consider. It maps out all of the communities for you right here, provides directions for you. So, and then you can share this link with all the members of your family. So if you have people that are out of state, they can see what you're looking at, they can read your notes. That's a really helpful tool. In 2012, Joan Lundy became a Police Vermont spokesperson, and I think that's wonderful. She's been doing television commercials. Has anybody seen those? And she's been doing radio and web commercials. She's done some appearances and educational tours. She wrote a book called Pursuit for the Caregiver's Soul. She talked about us in that book. She has an Ask Joe section on our blog. And she is a very trusted person in our culture, and she thought a lot about coming on board with Police Vermont and did a lot of research on our company before joining us to make sure that it was something that she could put her name behind. So that just goes to show me how trusted a company that we are, that Joan Lundy would join us. And she went through the same thing with her mom. Her mom was in a small residential community for memory care in California. I know the family is in California. But that wasn't the first stop. She had placed her mom in 2 other communities before then that weren't the right fit before she found the right place. And she didn't know about Place for Mom until after this. And she was like, why didn't you know about a service like Place for Mom before I went through all of this? Because interviewing somebody who has dementia one time is really difficult. She went through 3 times before she realized she didn't really have her in the right fit. She was in a very large community at first. It's too much hustle and bustle. Yes,
In those kinds of situations, are you bound by any kind of a contract with she had moved, you said 3 times. So she took her out of one. Did she have to sign a contract? Was there any penalty for putting her out?
Sure. So when you, typically with most assisted living communities, when you move in, there is a 30-day clause that goes both ways for you and the community. So you can write a 30-day written notice and be released from the contract, and as long as you pay for 30 more days after you write that that notice of intent to leave, you can leave even when you give them a notice just to pay for 30 more days. And they do the same to you. They give you a 30-day notice and say you can't take care of her anymore. You have 30 days to find another community. So pretty much that's how it usually works. Except for the CCRCs where you buy in, then that's different. You have to read over those contracts and find out how you have to get out of that contract. For the assisted living communities where there's no buy-in fee, where generally there's just an entrance fee of monthly rent, and it's just a rental contract, it's just usually a 30-day clause. So I just want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank you so much for being a federal employee and all that you've done for our country and allowing me to talk to you guys today. I hope this was helpful. The best way is to contact us if you have questions, if you want some guidance, if you want some help. Again, we're completely free of charge for our service. We're reimbursed by different senior care communities nationwide, and that's what offsets our costs and keeps it a free service to you guys. Is to contact those phone numbers there, the 410 number or the 301 number, or email us. And that information is also at the bottom of the magnet that most people should have. Like I said, I'll leave some more magnets here for you. So, can I answer any other questions? Yes.
So the publication that comes out, I think, maybe 4 times a year, and I think it's called Senior Living for Adults. That we generally try to distribute here when we get it. Are you familiar with that pub? It talks about, it gives you locations and advertisements for various senior living places.
Guide to retirement living?
Say again?
Is it a guide to retirement living?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I'm familiar. Yeah, Steve Gurney is a But yeah, anticipated completion. It has everything in it. So it can be a little overwhelming, but it has a lot of good information. It has a lot of good stories in it too. What we can help you do is get a little bit more streamlined to your, kind of tailor the options to your specific situation. So if you have, a loved one that has these specific activities of daily living, they need help with getting to the restroom, they're a two-person transfer, and they live in this area and their budget is this, then we can help find a handful of options that are going to meet up with those needs, and then kind of help with getting guide from there. And then as you're out there searching and you say, okay, well, I'm kind of leaning, towards a community like this, we can tailor and tweak your search based on that versus you having to call 50 places that may or may not be the right fit. So I wanted to just do a quick little giveaway, had a couple questions, and then I want to give away a few of these binders. Can anybody name 3 out of the 8 different types of senior care and senior living options that we went over?
Did you
Yeah.
assisted living, the apartment type of information, and also home care?
And essentially, what is respite care?
A break. Okay, well, it seems like there's at least 2 types. One is if the caregiver wants to go away for a while because they need home respite person who comes in, and then there's also maybe just for an hour or 2, and then there's another, I don't know if it's still called respite care, but it's also kind of like a daycare thing where the person is there on a watch of some sort and you care for it.
Right.
And I think the focus, what I recall from what I'm taking from my mother, the focus of respite care is on the caregiver, so that person can take a break.
Right. Essentially a break or short-term stay. So I'm going to give you guys both the binder. So, any other questions?
I have a question. I've heard the commercial on television. So basically, your service is free to the consumer,
Yes,
to
ma'am.
us. You're paid by the establishments you work with.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
So that there's not a fee to the consumer.
Right. There's never a fee to the consumer. There's never a fee to the speaker. Really, again, we pass on different side, different senior care communities nationwide, and that's what keeps us a business.
Okay.
So yeah, there's never a fee to families.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's always been that way. Okay.
But do you refer to places that don't reimburse you?
No, we work with about 20,000 communities nationwide. So they're in our partner network that we work with. So we don't work with every single community that's out there. But if you have a question on a community that we don't work with, we'll still get you information on that community as much as we can. We just don't have detailed information like room sizes or pricing or things like that on communities that we don't work with. But we work with 20,000 communities, and we're adding more each and every day. Generally, if we don't work with somebody, it's because either they don't know about us or we don't know about them.
So, for example, Erickson, is that one of the companies that you work with?
We did work with Erickson for a while. I don't know if we have a current contract with them at this time or not. So I can't tell you.
They do so much advertising themselves.
That's correct. Yeah, some of the larger CCRCs, don't because they don't feel they need, to use it to refer service, and it's fine. But we're here to help the family with whatever the best option is. And so, like I said, sometimes when Amanda calls us, if we can't refer an option that we work with as a this option, I've had to, give a lot of families information outside of our network because that's what was best for that family at the time. So, and we're going to try to help you with the options that are within the partner network because that's our, partnership that we have, with those communities, and, but that's not what's right for the family. Generally, there's always a solution within that, but if there's something else that the family needs, then we're not going to hold that information. Thank you.
Any more questions? Yes.
Please don't hesitate to call us at the 301-363-2327 number. There are local advisors in Maryland that will answer the phone when you call. It will generally be Shayna Dorfman, she's a social worker, Katie and Tracy, and they will be happy to help. Just let them know that you saw me at the Laurel Senior Center, and they will answer any questions that you have. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jessica. That was very, very informative. And we'd like to let you pull the winning ticket out for our 50/50 draw.
I move my baby.
387.
No.
Hey, okay. Sarah has the winning ticket. Let's see. Okay, let's have some officer reports here, starting with Dave for membership.
Okay. I'd like to report that we have, in December, we have 440 members of our organization. We've had one new member, Senator Miller, and 32 members, we have 32 members who joined us for the year. That's for the year of 2012. And we had one new member in the reinstated they renewed their membership. And 3 members were dropped and none in the majority of the membership. And 15 members have been sent second notice. And now we and we had one deceased, I'm not sure when, with building notice, David Brianna Goldberg, Blackie,
Brianna, what did you got?
I don't have a specific date.
Okay,
It's
so,
the weekend before, so it's less.
okay, you can, okay, we're gonna do that, okay. Oh, one thing we have to do, Mark is really serious problem here. That's high with 50% of our members. And continuing to lose members. So everybody should talk to friends and neighbors that are fellow employees or retired employees. And try to get them to join. Really need some number of people. Okay, thank you. So remember, try to recruit.
Bill, do you have anything for us?
A couple of things. First off, with the beginning of the new year, I want to remind you that it's an annual thing that we ask people to join to contribute both to the MD PAC and also to NARPAC. For those of you who don't know the difference, NARPAC is the national fund that we use to pay professional staff in the Alexandria to go up on the hill and lobby for these days, American Defense. The money that you contribute to that can go anywhere nationwide. NDPAC, Maryland PAC, stays in Maryland for us amateurs. And basically what we use that, we get invites to funding. And we contribute, the way that we do it is we look at where that legislator is represented and go after the chapter, the pertinent chapter, and ask their opinion of that legislator. Has he or she shown up at meetings? Has he or she shown up to senior issues? We have the voting, so we had that, and it becomes so positive, and we do contribute see the grant $100, even though they might have 200. If there are people who have actually literally introduced the bill or brought forward the bill, testified to the bill, sometimes they will for example, we're trying to bunch those in just before the session begins, so right now, I can't request for a fund. Matter of fact, I hope that you were informed about one that you rose up at the, did you get a questionnaire that you rose up at on the 8th of January?
No.
Mine got lost in all the holidays. There'll be something coming out. Each chapter in his area of responsibility asking on the question. And we, not only do we get the money, but the best bang for the buck is to get somebody to attend the conference. You get a free meal if we were to pay for it. And all we ask is that the individual people to go to is to attend, to enjoy themselves, but also lobby there, not just for, in this case, your business, but you, depending on the person, you might know about show up, or the push might show up, which is the secret of the house. So we want to get the message, not just from Jim, we know we should establish support, but for other people who will support this. So it's a good deal, but it takes money to do it. So we would ask, some people think, okay, I gave 3 years ago. You should have spent that money 2 years ago. So, yeah, in our backup, we're really on our way from that. Thank you.
Bob?
Well, being it's so close to the first of the month, I have not been able to download the statement from the bank, but hopefully by this evening I'll get that. So that part of the report will show up in the newsletter. As noted in the last newsletter, I did send off a check for $189 to from our 50 donation to the Alzheimer's. Now, I also sent another check that I had received separately, and that one was returned to me, but the person had not properly coded who was to be paid. We'll try to get that one.
Ellen?
We have to make a decision about our choice for next month. I don't know how you guys feel, but I had turkey and ham and what else did you hear? I thought maybe we got a good old chicken. How do you feel about it? Do you remember when we had Oliver and you did a great chicken masala? Do you remember that? This caterer offers Cornish hen, if you like to pick bones. It's a little messy. Or chicken breast, doesn't say how, or seasoning. But I thought maybe chicken marsala for a change. Huh? Yeah? Yeah? And then we need yellow rice. Remember we used to get the rice at Oliver's? That goes with chicken. Yeah? Then we need a green vegetable. She offers green beans. Huh?
Like Mother used to do.
Well, she has mixed vegetables. You want to go for mixed or green beans? Green beans. And then she has assorted cookies. And we can ask ice cream if you want it. Yeah, ice cream and cookies. And the usual iced tea and liquid. Okay? That's what we'll do.
How much is one?
And, well, it'll be 1,500. You'll be sending the brochures. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Here, Blackie?
No report.
Okay. Jackie couldn't be here. She came home from Florida and had to go back to Florida. Next month's presentation, I will let Beth Evans tell you because Beth's not the person. And I have some other good news. Beth has graciously volunteered and stepped forward and is going to take over Jackie's duties when Jackie goes to Florida. So let's give Beth a big hand. Next month, I forget the person's name, somebody from the PG County Police Department.
Corporal James Woody,
Okay.
who's the District 6 Consortium County Police, is going to talk about Alzheimer's, the new tracking devices that they have and how they work, and also to explain District 6 adult ID.
Sarah?
No, in District Court, I'd like again to thank Oliver and the people from the Laurel TV station for taping our speakers, and the tapes are aired, was it Tuesday and Thursday? So if anybody's not here or wants to see what you look like on TV, be sure to check it out, and we certainly appreciate Oliver's work. The notice is usually in the Laurel Leader. I was out of town and sick and didn't get it in, but it was in the Laurel Patch this time, and it should be in both of those venues each month for our meetings.
Okay, Teresa's not here. Beth, do you have anything for Alzheimer's yet?
No.
Okay.
Next,
David's not here.
the speaker
Kyle
next
Patel, see
month.
the newsletter?
I recorded that to wish everybody a happy meeting.
Do we have a date where we need stuff for the newsletter?
By the 7th. I'll send out an email.
The 7th of January? Okay. Okay, for my report, we have, we need a new newsletter editor so that Pat can give up that duty again. And we also need a North Pat, GOC. If anyone's interested, contact me or any of the other chapter officers, directors. As you all know, our office hours are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from noon to 3. And our office over there, we also could stand some help to help staff that between noon and 3 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Other announcements, the next chapter meeting will be Wednesday, February 6th, which is a luncheon, and it will be here. The next chapter board meeting is Friday, January 25th, starting at 10 at the conference room over there. Other important dates, February 5 is the Maryland Federation Board meeting in Bowie. April 29th to May 1st is our Maryland Federation Convention in Ocean City. And I know Jackie still needs people to help out with some of the subcommittees. Now, on a related note, we all so far have escaped the Cliff legislation that was signed New Year's Day early in the morning. However, I just saw this morning in a thing that our dear friend, the chairman of the House Government Ops Committee, Congressman from California, pushed the bill through that the House voted on before. They voted on the physical cliff bill, which freezes active federal employees' salary for the rest of 2013. Now, needless to say, it still has to go to the Senate, but you can see they haven't given up. And reading also on New Year's Day in the paper, all the articles that were in there, it's rather interesting that the one side did back off on some of their issues, but they haven't forgotten about it. And they are bringing these issues back up when they get into the spending side. The reductions, they want to take a COLA and change it to the chain COLA so that your COLA every year will be less. They want to increase the Medicare age and Social Security age. And they also want to means test Medicare. Now, to me, we've all heard that before, but I don't know if they're going to give up on it. But the thing that I find rather interesting is they all have a very short memory. They means tested Medicare once before when Reagan was in there, and what happened in the next election? Republican Senate went from Republican to Democrat instantly. They were gone. Because the older folks don't forget to go out and vote because it hits you wrong. So don't give up, folks. Keep watching out there, and when we send out the emails and all, and ask you to call or send the email letters in to your, it's rather easy to do. All you have to do is go in there and hit your state and it just pops up. All you got to do is push that button, send, and it goes to your senators and representatives. Since I'm a Florida resident now, I've been sending it. And as you can see, to the board, you see the responses I get back. And it's rather interesting. I found out that my one senator, who evidently going to be a presidential candidate, him and the other one, Ron Paul and Marco from Florida and Paul from Kentucky, both voted against the Clinton bill because they were two of the ones that voted against it. So don't give up yet, folks, because I also have a funny feeling when you get down into it, the other thing they're going to be looking at is making us pay more for our health insurance. That would surprise me in the least, that will sneak in or something.
Well, the worst part of that, and I'm going to raise that, is not just that we pay more, that they want to substitute a voucher system for the policy. And every economist who has looked at the voucher system says there's no way in heck that he ends up paying for what is required normal. And anything above and beyond that, red disease or a severe accident, they're going to end up paying for themselves. All the more reason to kick in money to what's right. By the way, I'll take it on that.
You will? Phil will know. Good. Now we need a newsletter. Sounds packed. No takers for the newsletter yet. Okay. Let me write down Bill down here. Well, that's great. Now, a related note that I don't have down here, also our nominating committee find a replacement for me. Starting for next September, it's going to be 74 Blackie, Bill, and Pat, the three of them. So, position's open to anyone. So, if someone who likes to do this, it's fun. It really is. I enjoy it, and I wouldn't be giving it up, but I am enjoying it. Start spending a lot more time on it. So, that's that.
Back to the previous topic, I heard something on the radio today about our payroll taxes going to go up, that wasn't part of the fiscal.
That was part of it.
That was not,
That is part. That is part.
It's part of it, it's going to go up.
And they are going to go up. They froze the taxes on them. They froze the taxes on everybody for income tax purposes, but the 2% for Social Security, that tax kicks back in.
It's not going up, they're putting it back.
They're putting it back, yeah, they didn't let that expired, so it kicks back in, yes. Effective today, okay, that's it. Want to see you all here for lunch next time, chicken marsala. We have our snacks back there, and we also got a box of truffles from the center staff that was in our office that I opened up and brought out here and sat on the counter. So enjoy those, and at that, have a good January, try to stay warm. Watch the Redskins and the Ravens, and let's hope we go all the way. I'd love to see us Redskins and Braves, that would be good.
I have to stay in my house.
They're two separate ones, and I've seen the other day.